Hello one and all, and welcome back to the chemistry classes. So students, in the previous session we have discussed about catalysis, and we have solved the problems on the catalysis. So the next part of the surface chemistry is colloids. Okay, so what is this colloid and what are the things that we have to study? Let us get into it one by one. Okay, first thing, what are colloids then? Okay, see, Thomas Graham, when he was studying the solutions, now we know that the solutions are of two types. One is homogeneous solution and other one is a heterogeneous solution. Okay, so when we say homogeneous solutions, it is true solutions. Okay, means in homogeneous solution there is only there is only one phase. Okay, means solute, when added into solution, they will form solute particles are uniformly distributed and there is no separation between solute and solvent, isn't it? So it is called as homogeneous because it has only one phase. Okay, and this homogeneous solution cannot be separated by simple filtration method. Okay, then comes the heterogeneous solutions, in which the particles the size of the particles size is larger. When solute is added into the solvent, there will be two phases, one will be of solute and one will be of solvent, and these heterogeneous solutions can be separated by a simple filtration method. Only this much of information was known. Then Thomas Graham was studying about these solutions only, and he could discover that there are only no we cannot classify only true solutions and suspensions, that is heterogeneous system. There exists another type of solution, and he called them as a colloidal solution. So how did he discover that colloidal solutions? Okay, so now he was taking the different homogeneous and heterogeneous solutions, and he was trying to separate them using filter paper, normal filter paper, and taking the animal membrane. So he observed that in case of true solutions, these true solution particles can pass through normal filter paper, and as well as they can pass through the animal membrane. Whereas the suspensions or the solutions in which the size of the particles were very large, okay, those cannot be passed through the normal filter paper nor through the animal membrane. Okay, but there were certain solutions, okay, which only could pass through the filter paper but not through the animal membrane. So he called such an solutions as colloidal solutions. Okay, so what we can make out from this, or what is the conclusion from this, is that there exists a separate class of solutions in which the size of the particles is not as small as that of true solution particles, and it is not as large as that of the suspensions. Okay, it is in between that of true solutions and suspensions. Okay, so colloidal solutions can be easily passed through the filter paper, normal filter paper, but they cannot pass through the animal membrane. So he called them as colloidal solutions. What are the example he could find for the colloidal solutions? Okay, normal gum, that you all have seen, normal gum, we have seen the starch, we have seen the gelatin, we have seen. Okay, so there are so many colloidal particles. We have seen the jam, we have seen the cheese, okay, and whipped cream we have seen. There are so many examples which can be filtered to normal filter paper, but they cannot pass through the animal membrane. Okay, why not through the animal membrane? The question comes because in the normal filter paper, the size of the holes present in the filter paper is large. Okay, so and the size of the holes in case of animal membrane is very small. So even though in case of animal membrane the size of the holes is small, but the true solution particles can pass through. Okay, whereas suspension, as it is not passing through the filter paper, there is no question that it will pass through the enamel membrane. But in case of colloidal solution, the size of the colloidal particles lies between that of true solutions and suspensions. As I have mentioned, the size of the holes of normal filter paper is quite larger, so the colloidal solutions can pass through easily to the filter paper. But in case of enamel membrane, the size is very small, so only solvent can pass through, not the colloidal particles, isn't it? So this is how he classified the solutions. Now here the point to be noted is that only true solutions are homogeneous. Only true solutions are homogeneous, whereas these two, that is suspensions and colloidal solutions, these are heterogeneous. These are heterogeneous. So these are heterogeneous. Okay, so this is the introduction regarding the colloids, okay, or colloidal solutions. Okay, now comes the very important part, that is the size of the colloidal particle, or they will give all the three particles and the size in different parameters they have given is different. So the first and basic thing that you have to understand is the size of the particles is best expressed in case of nanometers. Okay, very easy to understand. So in case of true solution particles, the size of true solution particles less than 1 nanometer. Then colloidal particles lies between that of 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, and suspension is greater than 1000 nanometer. Okay, then comes next is in case of meters. Okay, so this you have to remember, the size of the true solution particles is less than 10 to the power minus 9 meters, whereas colloidal solutions lies between that of 10 to the minus 9 meters to the 10 to the power minus 6 meters, and suspensions, it is more than 10 to the power minus 6 meters. Okay, so from these two, what you can make out, or what is the thing that you are observing, the difference between these two is in thousands. Okay, and this obviously it will be more than 1000. Okay, see 1 nanometer, so this is in between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. Now 10 to the power minus 9 meter, 10 to the power minus 9 meters, so this is from 10 to the power minus 9 to the 10 to the power minus 6, means here I have multiplied by 10 to the power 3, isn't it? 10 to the power means 1000, 10 to the power 3 means 1000. So again the difference is 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. Here it is say 1 meter to 1000 meter. I mean in that range context I'm telling you. Okay, next comes in micrometers. So the size of the true solution particles is less than 1 micrometer, whereas colloidals lies between 1 micrometers to 1 microns. Then suspensions will be more than 1 microns. Then again these two are important, that in case of true solution particles the size is less than 10 angstroms. Okay, less than 10 angstrom unit. Then colloidals lies between 10 angstrom units to 10,000, means again see 10 multiplied by 1000. Okay, so 10,000 angstrom unit. Colloidal particles lies between 10 to 10,000 angstrom unit, whereas suspension it is more than 10,000 angstrom unit. When it comes to picometers, again in directly it is starting from 1000 picometers only. So true solution particles, the size is less than 1000 picometers, whereas colloidal particles lies between 1000 picometers to 1000 picometers to 10,000, no, or 10 lakh. 10 to the power 6 picometers. Then suspensions will be, it will be more than 10 to the power 6 picometers. Okay, so the size matters a lot. The only thing that you have to remember is that the size between true solutions and colloidal solutions, if you remember that, this you can easily remember. Okay, so these two are very, very important, especially the questions that they will ask is this you can easily remember, and picometers also you can easily remember. So the question comes is in between these three. Okay, that is in terms of meters, micrometers and angstrom unit, that you have to remember. Next, on moving on, see in case of homogeneous solutions, okay, we know that there are, or in any solution there will be two parts, one is solute and another one is solvent. We have classified like this, any solution contains two parts, one is solute and another one is solvent. In case of colloidal solutions we call them as solute we call them as dispersed phase, and solvent we term them as a dispersion medium. So what is a dispersed phase? In short, we write it by dP, so that we can say over time. So dispersed phase particles means dP we can say. So what are dispersed phase particles? Substances of the size 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometers present in smaller amount in a colloidal solution. Okay, so now dispersion medium particle can be a solid or a liquid or a gas. Okay, then what is a dispersion medium? Dispersion medium, this you have to remember that it is a continuous medium. Okay, and what is a dispersed phase? Dispersed phase is a discontinuous medium, whereas a dispersion medium is a continuous medium in which dispersed phase particles are dispersed. Okay, now again, dispersion medium can be a solid, can be a liquid, and it can be a gas. This we can see the examples when we classify the colloids based on the physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium, that we shall see next. Then one thing is that gas in a gas cannot form a colloid. This you have to remember. Okay, whenever two gases mix, they cannot form a colloid, whereas a solid when mixed with another solid, and when a liquid mixed with another liquid, they can form colloids, but a gas in a gas cannot form a colloid. Okay, next, if the dispersion medium is water, it is called as hydrosol or aquazol. Important. Then if the dispersion medium is alcohol, then it is called as alcozols, and if the dispersion medium is air or a gas, then it is called as aerosols. So this is the introduction regarding the colloids and colloidal solutions, dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So these two are really important, that true solution particles can pass through the filter paper as well as animal membrane, whereas colloids can pass through only filter paper, not through the animal membrane, whereas suspension, they cannot pass through either filter paper nor the animal membrane. And in terms of size, this you have to practice and you have to remember. I have already given you the hint that always, in true solution particle, if you remember, then colloidal solution you can multiply it by 1000. In that range it will be there. Okay, so this is all regarding the size difference between true solutions, colloids and suspension. Now moving on, we will study the classification of the colloids. Okay, let us see them one by one. Alright students, now we will see the classification of the colloids, and the first classification is based on the physical state of dispersion medium and dispersed phase particles. Okay, so very important, again from board examination and competitive examination point of view, they will give you example and they will ask you what is the type of the colloid, or they will give you one type of colloid and they will ask you what is the dispersion medium in it, or what is the dispersed phase in it. So very important. So here one thing, what a table I have made. See, I have made that dispersion medium I have chosen already. Okay, as we already know that the dispersion medium can be a solid or a liquid or a gas. So first thing is that I have done taken the dispersion medium, all first solids, then liquids, then gas. Here gas I have not taken 3. Why? Because gas in a gas cannot form a colloidal solution, that we know. Okay, so overall how many? 8 types of colloids can be formed. Let us see one by one. Okay, now first thing is, when the dispersion medium is solid and the dispersed phase is also solid, then what is the type of colloid? It is called as solid sol. Okay, it is called as solid sol. See, colloidal solution andru onde, sol andrunu onde, or colloidal sol antandrunu onde. Solution on the badli colloidal sol anta karitevi. Okay, then dispersion medium solid ada, dispersed phase is solid ada, then the type of colloid is solid sol. What are the examples for this? Okay, alloys andre ಒಂದು ಮೆಟಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಮೆಟಲ್ ನ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲಾಯ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕಾಪರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ. ಓಕೆ, ಐರನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಿಯಂನ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಮಿಕ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೂ ಮೆಟಲ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅಲಾಯ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅಲಾಯ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಸಾಲ್ಟ್ಸ್. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಯಾವ್ದು ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಜೆಮ್ ಸ್ಟೋನ್ಸ್. ಜೆಮ್ ಸ್ಟೋನ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ದೀಸ್ ಈ ಉಂಗುರದೊಳಗಡೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ಕಲರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೋನ್ಸ್ನ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅವುಗಳಿಗೆ ಜೆಮ್ ಸ್ಟೋನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ರೂಬಿ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಕಲರ್ಡ್ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಕಲರ್ಡ್ ಗ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾವಲ್ಲ, ಅದರೊಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಸಾಲಿಡ್ನ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದಂಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೊಲೈಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಸಾಲ್. ಅದರೊಳಗಡೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಷನ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಎರಡು ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಅವ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಷನ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಮ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಯಾವುದು ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಾಲ್ ದಮ್ ಎಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಜೆಲ್. ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ದಮ್ ಆಸ್ ಜೆಲ್. ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗೋದೈತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಜೆಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಬರ್ತಾವೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಜೆಲೀಸ್, ಓಕೆ, ಜ್ಯಾಮ್, ಓಕೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಚೀಸ್. These are a few examples for the gels, and this is very important type of colloidal sol. Okay, next dispersion medium solid ada dispersed phase, let us say it is a gas. Okay, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವೇನು ಕರಿತೇವೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಸಾಲ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. we call them as a solid sols. So what are the examples ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ foam, rubber, ಆಮೇಲೆ pumice stones. These are the examples. Next, dispersion medium liquid ittu, dispersed phase solid ittu. Okay, then we call it as simple name, we call them as sol anta kariteve. Okay, and what are the example? Paint, okay, ink and cell fluids. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಫೇಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ದಮ್ ಆಸ್ ಎಮಲ್ಷನ್ಸ್. ಎಮಲ್ಷನ್ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಯಾವುದು? ಮಿಲ್ಕ್, ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ರೀಮ್, ಬಟರ್, ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ. Okay, then liquid ಒಳಗಡೆ gas is the dispersed phase, then it is called as foam. Okay, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಗ್ತದ? soap lather, then shaving cream. Okay, these are example for the ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಷನ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಮ್ ಯಾವುದಾಗಿರ್ತದ, ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದ. ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಯಾವುದಾಗಿರ್ತದ, ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂತಂದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಏರೋಸಾಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಏರೋಸಾಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಆರ್ ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿ ಏರೋಸಾಲ್. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಷನ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಮ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, ಏರೋಸಾಲ್. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಏರೋಸಾಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಏರೋಸಾಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೋದು, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಏರೋಸಾಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಯಾವುದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಏರೋಸಾಲ್ಗೆ? ಸ್ಮೋಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡಸ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, so small dust particles will be in the atmosphere, there will be moving from here and there, so that will be the example for your solid aerosols. Next, liquid in gas. So liquid aerosol, what are the example? In the nature we will find mist, fog, okay, cloud. These are some of the example for the liquid aerosols. So remembering or making the table is quite easy. Okay, so first make a table of dispersion medium, then go on adding the dispersed phase. So here I have marked some of them. Repeatedly asked questions are there. So based on gels they will ask, based on emulsions they will ask, based on foam and solid aerosol, and sometimes these are also have been asked. Okay, so this is the first classification. Okay, so remember those. And at least remember those which I have marked. Okay, then moving on to the next one, and this is also very important. Okay, second classification is based on the interaction between the dispersion medium and dispersed phase. When I say interaction antandre dispersed phase, whether they will love the dispersion medium or no. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲಯೋಫಿಲಿಕ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಥಿಯರಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ಲಯೋ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್, ಫಿಲಿಕ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಲವಿಂಗ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಲವಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಲಯೋ ಅಗೇನ್ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್, phobic means hating, liquid hating colloidal solutions or colloidal salts. Okay, so to save my time, the difference between these two is very, very important. So I'll write only on the lyophilic side. This you have to understand by yourself, totally opposite to this. Okay, next, so lyophilic salts. What are the things that differ here? Okay, so lyophilic olagade great affinity. Between what? Between dispersion medium and dispersed phase, there will be a great affinity. So illen baritiri low affinity. Low affinity. Okay. Then easy to prepare. Easy to prepare. Why easy to prepare? Because iveredu naduke affinity athwa love irtada. They are interacting very well with one another. So therefore they are easy to prepare. These are difficult. These are difficult. Next, these are reversible. These are reversible. Now this is important. Many times asked question. Which colloidal solutions are reversible in nature? They are lyophilic. Reversible antandre when you mix dispersed phase in a dispersion medium, you have a colloidal solution. A colloidal solution na heat ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, dispersion medium will be evaporated and will get again our dispersed phase particles. Once again, if you mix the dispersion medium, you will get the dispersed colloidal solution. Therefore these are reversible in nature. Okay, amale these are irreversible. Okay, then next, these are quite stable, they are highly stable. These are highly stable. These are less stable. Okay, next, these are less stable and need stabilizing agent. They don't need any, these will do not require any stabilizing agent because there is a great affinity between dispersion medium and dispersed phase. Now in case of lyophobic, there is no affinity, therefore we need someone to have a good relationship between dispersion medium and dispersed phase. In case of lyophobic, again lyophilic will act as a stabilizing agent in case of lyophobic colloidal solution. This you have already learnt in where gold number, isn't it? In theory you have remembered, but you have studied it. Once again we will study when that part comes in this. Okay, so next is okay, do not show Tyndall effect. They will not show Tyndall effect. Why? Because the particle size is very, very, not as small as the true solutions, but as there is a greater combination or greater affinity, they will not be scattering light to the expected range. Though, therefore, they will not show Tyndall effect, and they will show Tyndall effect. They will show Tyndall effect. Okay, so these are some of the, what we can say, the difference between lyophilic colloids and lyophobic colloids. Next, moving on to the third classification. Okay, that is based on the type of colloidal particle. Colloidal particle. Okay, so under this, the first one we will study. Okay, sorry, examples we have to study in this. Yeah, what are the example for lyophilic? That is very important. They will give one example and they will ask you whether it is a lyophilic or lyophobic. Okay, so I'll rub Tyndall effect. I'll write it here, don't get confused. Okay, so example for the lyophilic colloids, what are? Gum, starch, proteins, okay, polymers, okay, these are, and gelatin. These are some example for lyophilic colloids. And lyophobic colloids is, you take any metal salts. Metal salts means say gold, silver, platinum, even copper salts. okay, along with that sulfur, phosphor and arsenious sulfide, ferric hydroxide. So these are example for the lyophobic colloids. Okay, then moving on to the next, based on the type of colloidal particle. Okay, particle size आधार ಮೇಲೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ first one A, in this we'll say macromolecular, sorry multimolecular, let us say first multimolecular. So multimolecular means, multi means many molecules, multimolecular name itself is suggesting is that many molecules have combined to form one particle. That particle size lies between that of colloidal particle. Okay, so what are the examples? What are the examples for this? You can take again your gold, silver or platinum salts, and even sulfur salt will come under this multimolecular. Okay, so what will happen? Multimolecular means, see, gold particles are very very small, so small gold particles, they will combine, or the another word that we use in this is aggregate. Okay, they will start to get associated, join to one another, not combine completely, or they will not combine chemically, they will just come closer to one another, they will join one another and form one big colloidal particles. Okay, so multimolecular colloidal salt, these are example for that. Then second one is a macromolecular. Okay, macromolecular means, macro means big, one big molecule which is actually in a normal condition, it is, I mean, before adding into the dispersion medium, this macromolecular is means bigger molecule, it is not a colloidal particle. Before adding into dispersion medium, it is a very big molecule. When we add that big molecule into the dispersion medium, it will break down into small particles, and those small particle size will be in between that of colloidal particles. So what are the examples for this? Is your starch will come under this, starch, proteins, etc. So these will come under a macromolecular, I mean these are the example for that. Okay, next on, moving on, third one is that is associated colloids, that let us see now. Okay students, now we will study the third type of colloidal solution, that is associated colloids. Okay, and they are popularly known as micelles. Okay, associated colloids andru onde, micelles andrunu onde. Okay, more commonly we use the word micelles. Okay, and what are micelles? Clusters or aggregated particles formed by the association of dispersed phase particles. For example, soap lather. ಈಗ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಕೊಲಾಯ್ಡ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ಸಿ, ಒಂದು ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅದ, ಓಕೆ, ಒಂದು ಸಾಲ್ವೆಂಟ್ ಅದ, ಅದ್ರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, aggregated or cluster ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Some of these particles will combine and form particles like this. Okay, these only getting, I mean these smaller particles only get joined to one another to form what? A cluster or a big molecule which is in the size range of colloidal particles. Okay, association andre idu, joining to one another, association. Okay, ಅವು ಕೆಮಿಕಲಿ ಕಂಬೈನ್ ಆಗಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕೆಮಿಕಲಿ they will not chemically combine, they will just what? Small particle, they will join together. Okay, then they will form bigger particles. Okay, so those type of colloids are called as associated colloids or micelles. Okay, best example is your soap lather or the froth generated by the soap. Okay, this we have studied very in detail in the theory part, so I will not go in detail of these associated colloids, but there are some points are very important that we shall discuss now. So the first point is that are the micelles generated immediately after adding these smaller particles into the dispersion medium? No. They, to differentiate, how do we understand the difference between, say, macromolecular colloids and associated colloids? In case of multi-layered colloids and associated colloids, what is the difference that we understand is, in case of multi-layered colloids, immediately after adding those small particles, they will aggregate and they will form colloidal particles. But in case of associated colloids, there is a certain concentration required. Above that concentration only they will form colloidal particles. So that is the speciality of micelles or associated colloids. Okay, so the concentration above which micelles are formed is called as CMC. What is the full form of CMC? Many times asked question. That is critical micellization concentration. Very important. Okay, what is the CMC? CMC is critical micellization concentration. So above CMC only our micelles will be formed. This is also important. Above CMC only our micelles are formed. And what is the TK? TK is called as Kraft temperature. What is Kraft temperature then? Kraft temperature is the temperature above which micelles are formed. So there exists one temperature. See, at normal temperature only they will not form. Okay, when we add these soap, when we dissolve little bit, it's a exothermic, very little bit of exothermic reaction, so slightly the temperature will be raised. Okay, so the temperature above which our micelles are formed is called as Kraft temperature. Okay, so next is very important. They'll ask you the questions regarding the cleansing action of the soap. Now we know the soaps and the detergents are what? Aggregates of stearate ions. Okay, we know that they are, the soap and detergents are of aggregations or association of the stearate ions. The stearate ions may be the stearates of sodium or stearates of potassium are there. Okay, so now what is the stearate ion will be containing? Stearate ion will be containing two parts. One is non-polar, one will be non-polar hydrophobic part. This is made up of only carbon and hydrogen. Why non-polar? Because each carbon is surrounded by hydrogens only, so there is no dipole moment, so therefore they are non-polar. Therefore, and water is what? Water is polar in nature. These are non-polar in nature. So polar and non-polar, they do not have any affinity towards them. Therefore these non-polar part will become hydrophobic. Hydro means water, so hydrophobic means no affinity towards water. But the second part of the stearate ions is polar in nature. So this polar part is called as hydrophobic part. Now in cleansing action of soap, we know that the hydrophobic part will be in the dirt particles or oil or in the oil or grease particle. It will be hydrophobic part will be inserted, then hydrophilic part will be outside interacting with the water. Then slowly when we rub the cloth, what will happen? These stearate ion will come out of that dirt. These hydrophobic parts will be taking small part of that dirt along with them, and they will form again micelles, isn't it? So this is regarding the cleansing action of the soap. Very important. Here 2 points are very important. One is CMC, another one is Kraft temperature, and the hydrophobic and hydrophilic part of the stearate ions. Okay, so this is very important regarding the associated colloids. Okay, next we will move on to the preparation of the colloids. Next is preparation of the colloids. So in the preparation of colloids, okay, first method that we will discuss is chemical method. Okay, in chemical method there are 4 methods, but there are 2 methods. Two methods are very important. One, okay, the first one is double decomposition method. So in double decomposition, 2 of the reactant they will decompose. Okay, double decomposition or double displacement you can say. So they will, ions will be displaced and we will get our colloidal particles. Now in this reaction, this is arsenious sulfide, As2S3. Arsenious sulfide is a negatively charged colloidal particle generated in the double decomposition method. Okay, and next one is oxidation method. So in oxidation method, what will have oxidation reaction. So example for this, sulfur dioxide reacts with hydrogen sulfide, giving you sulfur sol. It is called as sulfur sol. Okay, then comes the third one, that is a hydrolysis. So in hydrolysis, what will happen? So what is the sol is metal hydroxides are the sols. Metal hydroxides are the sol or colloidal particles generated. Okay, so here what will happen? Salt of the metals are formed and these are hydrated. When the metal salts or metal chlorides are hydrated, we will get the metal hydroxides. These will act as the colloidal particles. So only iron can be formed. Even we will find in hydrolysis method we can do chromium, aluminium also we can be doing. I mean chromium hydroxide and aluminium hydroxide can also be prepared by the hydrolysis of the aluminium chloride and chromium chloride. This is important. Hydrolysis is important. And the next method, that is called as reduction. This is also very important. Why? Because in reduction we will prepare in this method we will prepare the salts of gold, silver, platinum. Okay, so very important. So in this method what we will be doing? Question asked in theory once, it was that in reduction method, or explain the preparation of colloids by reduction method. So in reduction method what will happen? The salt of the low reactive metal will be reduced by the salt of high reactive metals. So here silver chloride, when it is treated with the stannous chloride, this is called as stannous chloride. So we will get silver sol, or even we will get the, instead of silver if you take gold, then we will be getting gold sols. Okay, so this is very important method. Why? Because in this low reactive metal salts are prepared. Okay, so these two methods, hydrolysis and reduction. In hydrolysis we can prepare the metal hydroxides of iron, chromium and aluminium. In reduction we can prepare the metal salts of gold, silver and platinum. So this is regarding the chemical method. Okay, then comes electrical method, or we can very famously call it as a Briggs electric arc method. Briggs electric arc method. In Briggs electric arc method, in theory we have studied in detail. This is the best method to prepare the metal salts of what? Again, gold, silver and platinum. Low reactive metal salts can be easily prepared by the electrical methods. Okay, so in this method what we will be doing, the metal whose colloidal salt is to be prepared is made as electrodes, and in between the electrodes an electric arc will be fixed. Okay, and this this setup is immersed in a ice bath. Means it is one tank will be there. Inside that tank water we have taken the water, and this entire tank is filled with ice. Outside part of the tank is filled with ice. So what will happen? This water is not warm, it is actually what? Ice cold. Means it is not completely ice, not completely water, I mean just like water. So it is ice cold water, we will say. So what will happen now? So when this setup is there in the ice cold water, and when we pass electricity through this setup, what will happen? This electric arc gets heated, and because of this heat these electrode get vaporized. Okay, when these vapors come out, immediately they will come in contact with the ice cold water. So in ice cold water what will happen? Vapor means what? Gas. Okay, because this electric arc will heat, the heat coming out of the electric arc will melt this and also vaporize this. That much of hot the electrical arc will be, and when they are coming out they are in the form of gaseous, and immediately when the gas comes in contact with the ice cold water, they get what? Converted into liquid to solid. So we will get small particles will be generated. Okay, these later they will form colloidal salts. Bigger, they will get associated and they will form what? Multi-layered, okay, or multi-molecular colloidal salt will be prepared by Briggs electric arc method. Okay, so this is the second method. Now we will move on to the third method, that is peptization. Let us see about peptization. Okay students, so now the third method for the preparation of the colloidal particles is peptization. Okay, so what is peptization? Okay, peptization means it is a process in which freshly prepared precipitate is converted into colloidal sol by adding a suitable electrolyte. Now you already know what is meant by precipitation. Okay, ನೀವು ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ರೋಟರಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿರಿ ಏನಂತಂದರೆ AgNO3 ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನನ್ನು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಮೋನಿಯಂ ಕ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅದ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇದು ಸಾಲ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಮೋನಿಯಂ ಕ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆ ಸಾಲ್ಟ್ ಅದ, ಅದನ್ನು ನೀರೊಳಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರಿ. ಅಮೋನಿಯಂ ಕ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ ಅಕ್ವಿಯಸ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಮೋನಿಯಂ ಕ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ ಅದ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ನೈಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನನ್ನು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಸೊ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ AgCl ವೈಟ್ ಕಲರ್ PPT ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ, ಅಮೋನಿಯಂ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅಮೋನಿಯಂ ನೈಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಹಂಗೆ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಉಳಿತು. Okay, so the white color thing that is going to settle down immediately after the addition of silver nitrate to the ammonium chloride. So the white color ಏನು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಗಟ್ಟಿ ಉಳಿತದಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನು ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಪ್ರಿಸಿಪಿಟೇಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಫ್ರೆಶ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರಿಸಿಪಿಟೇಟನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕೊಲಾಯ್ಡಲ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸೂಟೇಬಲ್ ಆದಂತಹ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು, ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟನ್ನು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೂಟೇಬಲ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ಸಿ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಈಗೇನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನೇನು ಮಾಡೀನಿ, AgI ಪ್ರಿಸಿಪಿಟೇಟನ್ನು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡೀನಿ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೂಟೇಬಲ್ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ಅಂತಂತಂದರೆ ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ನೈಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪೊಟ್ಯಾಷಿಯಂ ನೈಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಪೊಟ್ಯಾಷಿಯಂ ಅಯೋಡೈಡ್. AgI ಪ್ರಿಸಿಪಿಟೇಟ್ಗೆ ಸೂಟೇಬಲ್ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಎರಡು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ಯಾವ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ನೈಟ್ರೇಟ್, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಪೊಟ್ಯಾಷಿಯಂ ಅಯೋಡೈಡ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ರಿ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಈ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಿಸಿಪಿಟೇಟು ಕೊಲೈಡಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನಾವೇನು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡತ್ತೇವಲ್ಲ ಆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾಮನ್ ಅಯಾನ್ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅದ್ರೊಳಗಡೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, AgI PPT ಅದ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನನ್ನ ಕಡೆ ಈ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ಏನು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನಲ್ಲ ಅದರೊಳಗಡೆ ಕಾಮನ್ ಯಾವ್ದು ಇರಬೇಕು, ಒಂದು ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಅಯೋಡೈಡ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಈಗ AgNO3 ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನು ಕಾಮನ್ ಅದ, ಇಲ್ಲೂ AgNO3 ಒಳಗೆ ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ಅದ, ಇಲ್ಲೂ AgI ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ಅದ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಚೂಸ್ ಅ ಸೂಟೇಬಲ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ಆಡೆಡ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಸೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್. ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಹಂಗಿದ್ರೆ, ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ದ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರಿಸಿಪಿಟೇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಕೊಲಾಯ್ಡಲ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವುದು? ಈ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ನೈಟ್ರೇಟ್. ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಡ್ರಿ, ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ನೈಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಟು ದ ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ಅಯೋಡೈಡ್ precipitate. So this is our peptizing agent. So this precipitate, how it is converted into colloidal solution? See, during peptization the precipitate will adsorb one of the ion from the electrolyte on its surface and become either positively charged or negatively charged depending upon adu yavdu ion anna adr mele adsorb ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಇದು ನಿಮ್ಗೇನು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೊಳಗಡೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ನೈಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ Ag ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅದ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ NO3 ಮೈನಸ್ ಅದ. ಈಗ ಇದ್ರೊಳಗಡೆ ಕಾಮನ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಇದ್ರೊಳಗಡೆ ಏನು ಕಾಮನ್ ಅದ, Ag ಪ್ಲಸ್. ಸೊ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಇದು ಕೊಲಾಯ್ಡಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಇದ್ರ ಬದಲಿ ನಾನು ಏನಾದರೂ KI ಪೊಟ್ಯಾಷಿಯಂ ಅಯೋಡೈಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ರಿ, ಅವಾಗ ಇದ್ರೊಳಗಡೆ ಏನು ಕಾಮನ್ ಅದ, ಅಯೋಡೈಡ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಯೋಡೈಡ್ ಮೈನಸ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಅದ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ Ag ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಬದಲಿ ಏನು ಬರ್ತದ, I minus. So now your silver iodide will be negatively charged when you are adding potassium iodide. So ಈ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಿಸಿಪಿಟೇಟ್ ತನಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಬೇಕೋ ಅದನ್ನ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ನಾವೇನು ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಅಡ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್. ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಅಡ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್. ದಿಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ colloids. Okay, so now this is one of the method, easiest method to prepare the colloidal solution. Easiest method ಯಾವ್ದಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ peptization. So peptization ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು suitable electrolyte ನ precipitate ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ precipitate will be getting converted into colloidal solution. So ನಾವು ಯಾವ electrolyte ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ peptizing agent ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Then again here ferric hydroxide will be converted into ferric hydroxide colloidal sol by the addition of ferric chloride. ನಾವು ಇದ್ರೊಳಗಡೆ ಎರಡು ಯಾವ್ದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಅದ, ಐರನ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ 3. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನೇ ಇದು ಅಡ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತದ. ಇದನ್ನ ಅಡ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸಪೋಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫೆರಿಕ್ ಹೈಡ್ರಾಕ್ಸೈಡ್ಗೆ ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಹೈಡ್ರಾಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ. ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಹೈಡ್ರಾಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ. ಸೊ ಇವು ಎರಡರೊಳಗಡೆ ಯಾವುದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಅದ? OH ಮೈನಸ್, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಇದು ಅವಾಗ ಇದು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? OH ಮೈನಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಅದೇನಾಗ್ತದೆ? ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಮಾಮೂಲಾಗಿ ಕೇಳುವಂತಹ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ದ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು ವಾಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ದ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕೊಲೈಡಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್. ಸೊ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಅಡ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರನೇ ನೀವು ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾವುದು ಪ್ರಿಸಿಪಿಟೇಟ್ ಅದ ಅದ್ರೊಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಅಯಾನ್ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಅದನ್ನೇ ಅಡ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. Remember this part. Okay, so peptidization is the easiest method for preparing the colloidal salts. Next we shall study about purification of colloids and let us end the session. Okay, so purification of colloid ಅಂತ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಏನು? See, colloidal solution, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು colloidal solution ತಗೊಳ್ರಿ, ಅದರೊಳಗಡೆ ಎರಡು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಷನ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಮ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಫೇಸ್. ನಮಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಫೇಸೇ ಏನಾಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ತದ? ಕೊಲಾಯ್ಡಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ತದ. ಹಂಗಿದ್ರೆ ಎಕ್ಸಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಇರುವುದು ಯಾವುದು? ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಷನ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಮ್. ಸೊ ಡಿಸ್ಪರ್ಷನ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಮ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎರಡು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಸಾಲ್ಯುಬಲ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್, ಅಂದರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅನ್ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಸಾಲ್ಯುಬಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾವ, ಅದನ್ನ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ ಟ್ರೂ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲೇನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು? ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಸೇಷನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಅದೇ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಆ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ನಾವು ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಮೂವಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ರೂ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಾಲ್ಯುಬಲ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಕೊಲೈಡಲ್ ಸಾಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಪ್ಯೂರಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೊಲೈಡ್ಸ್. ಪ್ಯೂರಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೊಲೈಡ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡೋಣ? ಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್? ಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ is a method of separation of true solution particles and soluble impurities from colloidal sol by diffusion of these electrolytes. True solution particles ಅಂದ್ರೆ electrolytes. Okay, by diffusion of electrolytes through a suitable membrane. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲಿ? ಒಂದು ಕೊಲಾಯ್ಡಲ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ತೊಗೊಳ್ರಿ, ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ರಿ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೋ ಸೂಟೇಬಲ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಒಳಗೆ ತೊಗೊಳ್ರಿ. ಆ ಕೊಲಾಯ್ಡಲ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. ಆ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ವಾಟರ್ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಎಕ್ಸಿಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಯಿತು? ವಿ ನೋ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ದ ಕೊಲಾಯ್ಡಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡಿಫ್ಯೂಸ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನಿಂದ ಕೊಲಾಯ್ಡಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರುವ ಯಾವುವು? ಬರೀ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರ್ತಾವೆ. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಔಟ್, ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನು ಉಳಿತು? ಬರೀ ಕೊಲಾಯ್ಡಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಉಳಿತಾವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್? ಡಿಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಇದು ನಾವು ಕೇಳಿರುವಂಥ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಏನಂತಂದರೆ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್? ಡಿಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ and in the membrane only pure colloidal particles will remain. This is regarding dialysis. Then electrodialysis antandre enu? See, this dialysis process is very slow. Okay, ಈ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನನ್ನು ಈ ವಾಟರ್ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇಡಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಕ್ವೈಟ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮೇಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಫಾಸ್ಟರ್. ಹೌ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಫಾಸ್ಟರ್? ಸಿ, ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಮೇಡ್ ಫಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಬೈ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್. ಅಂದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್. ಹೌದಾ? ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಡನ್ನು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ನ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಡನ್ನು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಒಂದು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಸೊ ನೀವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಸೊ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ಸ್ ಫಾಸ್ಟಾಗಿ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಂದುಬಿಡ್ತಾವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ will move towards the anode they will move, and positively charged will move towards their cathodes. Okay, and the dialysis process will be made faster. So this method is called as electrodialysis. Now there is one more method for the purification of colloids called as ultrafiltration, that we will take in the next session. Okay, so this is enough for today. So we shall meet in the next session. Thank you so much, students.